is Margaret Benkard, and thank you for listening to my IDS capstone presentation for Northwestern University's School of Professional Studies. This is patternABC Cards and Kits, Learning with a Difference. Today, I'll start by defining what the patternABC is and why it's so important to young learners. Then, I'll outline what challenges exist for connecting children to the patternABC, to identify the problem and the scope. Next, I'll discuss three types of users who the patternABC is for, so the solution is tailored to their needs. The patternABC cards, kits, and activity booklet will be covered in Part 4. And finally, the next steps, Part 5, will give a look ahead into what's still to come. The patternABC is a new visual language designed to help build spatial fluency in young minds. The pattern alphabet was created by Alex Wolf and her company, Nature. Alex wanted to create a universal system that's simple, fun, and easy, that promotes creativity and builds minds as elegant and efficient as nature herself. This short video will give you an overview of what the patternABC is, why it was created, and how it opens up a new window of seeing the world we all live in.
Defined by the laws of space and physics, these patterns are the core set of nature's most basic building elements. These are her building blocks for 2- and 3-dimensional patterns on micro and macro scales. Every second from the moment we animals are born, our minds collect intelligence by the way of pattern recognition and processing. Along the way, we learn to identify and apply this design not only to our senses, but to ideas, concepts, and stories. Curiosity and wonder promote perceptual learning from an early age as we see and experience the beauty around us. Nature's pattern alphabet is a radical new way to share these fundamental formulas with a common, accessible vocabulary. They are an exciting introduction for kids, students, and families to the shapes and structures we not only see on Earth, but throughout our universe.
The pattern alphabet is a language for the realm of spatial, which is continuous, with many solutions, as opposed to verbal language, which is finite. As seen here, there are many ways to represent 4 spatially. The central challenge is how to better connect learners to the patternABC, in the classroom and at home and outside as well. People love the idea of the pattern ABC, but they don't know what to do with it. This has led to the creation of the patternABC cards and activity kits. The second challenge involves educating people on what spatial learning is and its importance to child development and its link to science, technology, engineering, and math. Nature is also focused on how to create meaningful learning experiences in different environments. Spatial skills are the part of our brains which connect our imaginations to the world around us. The link between what we see with our eyes open and eyes closed, and it's how we get around. Children's play with spatial toys correlates with spatial development. Children who are exposed to more spatial language during their preschool years outperformed their peers on spatial tests years later. So much so that researchers predict that teaching spatial skills would double the amount of people prepared to enter engineering. Adhering to the core principles of flexible and fun, the patternABC activities are meant to be played anywhere. Children can play and explore patterns at home or in school. They can take the cards and use them inside or outside. Supplies from the kits can be used inside and improvised outdoors with sticks, sand, stones, leaves, flower petals, and so on. Because I wanted to employ a user-centered design approach for this project, it's important to define who the users are. The pattern alphabet is experienced primarily by children, but parents, caretakers, and teachers are also users and need to be counted too. For this project, I interviewed both teachers and parents and had a lot of good feedback. As I speak about each group, I'll detail how we're solving the Connecting to the Pattern ABC challenge by addressing what each group needs. First, for the children, Pattern ABC kits and activity booklets need to be accessible, comprehensible, and appeal visually without a lot of explanation on the packaging and on the items themselves. The kits will all have the same materials, but the prompts and instructions will change depending on the age group the kit is designed for. For children, dividing activities into 3 different age groups is needed. The kits will have the activity booklets for 4 to 5, 6 to 7, and 8 to 11-year-old age groups. For the 4 to 5-year-olds, visuals are much more important than written descriptions, as these are children who are most likely not at a fluency reading level just yet. A pared-down visual minimalism design will be carried forward onto the designs used for the older age groups. The second user experience involves how parents and caregivers are introduced to the pattern concepts through the kit and the activity booklet. This is a pivotal moment because the adult needs to take in information and then relay that to the children quickly. Any confusion or vague directions can dilute the message or derail it completely if the parent decides the activity is confusing and not worth the trouble. Overall, the instructions need to be clear and promise a fun time for the child and a stress-free bonding experience for the parent to have with their child. Parents also need to be encouraged to let their children free play with the pattern materials. One of the core values of the pattern ABC is its flexibility and open interpretation, that shapes and patterns just exist, that one is not better than another. All of them are valuable and relevant. Parents can use descriptive language to describe their environment. Research suggests that parents can amplify benefits of playing with blocks or puzzles or patterns by using spontaneous spatial language with their children, such as, "Can you find all the pieces with a flat edge?" Teachers will use the pattern ABC kits and activities in a different way than parents, so the deliverables will be altered for their needs. Educators have a larger number of children to reach than a parent, and they also need to be able to copy lesson plans easily and expand on the activities with what they have in the classroom if they choose to do so. Towards this goal of classroom learning for the pattern ABC, Nature tested the pattern alphabet for preschoolers in UNICEF in Tanzania in 2019. From 3 to 6 years old, these boys and girls were successful in seeing and replicating the patterns they were given. They had fun, and their teachers enjoyed the new lessons and gave feedback as well. So, how can we improve upon the success in Tanzania? Part 4, Solution. We'll look at the proposed design and content layout for the activity kit, and also the booklet design with cover and inserts. This booklet features and explains the 5 different modalities: ID, 2D, 3D, 4D, and OD. All 3 user groups, the children, parents, and teachers, need a structured series of activities that are easy to follow, flexible, and fun. The first component, the pattern ABC cards, have already been designed and are in production. They have a clear card to look through and an identifier below. This is a minimalist layout that the other designs need to follow while building in color and a sense of play. The ways of playing are called the modalities. Here we can see the transparent card held up against objects in the outdoors. Like riding a bike it's wordless learning. It's a key representational system for the human mind. The modalities for playing with and learning about the pattern ABC are ID, identification, eyes open, what I can see, eyes closed, what I can imagine. 2D, drawing and working on paper. 3D, making objects with clay or sticks. 4D is moving, from making the pattern shapes with your body or with a few friends. And OD, outdoor, for finding things, like an I Spy nature walk activity. Patterns are everywhere in man-made structures as well. So as part of the solution, icons for each mode were designed to make them stand out visually as cues for what types of activities children would be doing, a form of wayfinding, visual cues to navigate. This is the first version of them. The design may be refined after further testing. These 5 ways of learning and playing will be introduced at the start of the activity booklet. They can be done in any order of sequence. Inside the kits, the tools include Play-Doh, scraper, salt, spices, toothpicks, a paintbrush, sheets of paper. All are labeled to have a unified look, but still be recognizable in their original containers. Parents are encouraged to add their own craft kit materials at home to expand the possibilities and personalize each child's experience and make it their own. Here's one example of how children will play in 2D, drawing with salt poured into the lid of the box, which doubles as a tray. The inside liner of the box will be black, so that patterns drawn in by a finger or a toothpick or the scraper are clearly visible. For the 3D making activity, the clay, scraper, and toothpicks are used interchangeably to make impressions or to roll out and cut into sections. Structuring activities in 5 modalities ensures children are learning in every dimension, from flat to round to movement. And by such practice, they come to know the pattern's features. To refer back to the pattern ABC chart, we can see that there are 4 main categories with patterns organized within them. For this presentation, I've selected growth and the symmetry sections for activity booklet sample designs. So how does our user research translate into effective information design? The solution for the activity booklet is an outer cover signature for each of the main categories of the pattern alphabet and separate interior signatures for individual patterns. For example, the growth cover would come with the growth patterns inside, like spiral and branching or meander. The symmetry booklet would have chirality, bilateral symmetry, symmetry in 4, 5, 6, and more inside. Making the inserts interchangeable and the main categories color-coded through the color of the font and the color along the bottom will serve as a visual system that helps the user understand the parts of the pattern ABC, as well as the system as a whole. For images in the activity booklets, there will be 3 levels of supporting visuals to include in the design with the activities. First, simple, minimalist vector-based illustrations. Second, small watercolor illustrations. And third, photographs of nature, similar to what children might see on a pattern walk. For the older age groups, the images will have identifying captions beneath them and some trivia about them to hopefully bring a wow moment to their user experience. The inside front cover of each category booklet will have a brief explanation defining the pattern ABC, covering the what, why, and how. The modalities are explained in this section as well. The color palette of blue, green, teal, and purple with some orange as well continue throughout each booklet. A magnifying glass was chosen as a design element to show looking and searching, two key activities in the Identify ID and Outdoor OD Explore modes of activity. A wandering dotted line can be thought of as a path to walk or an insect's flight as it meanders around the page. This is a spread from the branch activity booklet for the 4 to 5-year-old age group. The typography treatment for each day shows the pattern at the top, the symbol on the right, and the day in orange, and what the mode of play is clearly shown as well. Action verbs such as discuss, give, ask are in all caps and flush right, while the details of each activity are flush left. Another part of the solution for introducing the pattern ABC to children is telling it in the form of an origin story to make it more engaging and captivating. Alex Wolff wrote the following in 2019 after the Tanzania study. It will be read to children this summer at a summer day camp while holding pattern cards up for each part. In the beginning, there was an explosion, the Big Bang, and spiral galaxies formed. Much later, on our Earth, in the sea and on land, we had plants grow up, branching, and fresh water in meandering rivers. Waves of sunlight and water helped our plants, and parallel grasses grew on river banks and plains. From the sea, our scaled animal ancestors came and laid eggs in clusters like bubbles. Part 5, Next Steps. What do we still need to do to research more and build on the pattern ABC? For the classroom setting, nature will get feedback from pilot studies and implementing the pattern ABC in small groups this summer at a half-day camp in New York State. We will also be structuring the activity booklet's content differently for teachers, getting more feedback from them, dividing pattern activities into units with objectives that meet Common Core and state standards. A pattern ABC app is also in development with spatial researcher David Utall, who runs the Spatial Intelligence and Learning Center, SILC, out of Northwestern University. The app would continue to promote the keyboard format that the pattern ABC was originally designed in. If one thinks of signing the pattern ABC with gestures and hand signals, it would lead users to think creatively to make their own signals. In closing, nature returns to a core set of patterns to grow forms in animals, plants, and geology. The proof it can work is the sheer span of it, from preschool through PhD, and science, technology, engineering, and math, all of which are rooted in spatial reasoning. From cradle to career, there are many places it can have impact. We hope the pattern ABC cards, kits, and activity booklet are the cornerstone to a lifetime of learning and fun.